my 40 plus years of hunting, I've never taken a bull over 300. I've never been in the middle of the elusive elk frenzy. And I've never had a medical condition try and steal my hunt away. My name is Mark. I'm one of the Notchin Tags team members. And as far as hunting memories go, this one was beyond all expectations. Six friends came together for this hunt: Jason, Chris, Derek, Fred, and best of all, my brother-in-law DJ. DJ is a great brother-in-law, and he has never videotaped a hunt before, but he was willing to go for it. And it makes it even better because he has never even been on a hunt before. Having horses on a hunt was something new for me and very exciting too. I don't know anything about horses, but fortunately Fred and Jason were there to take care of that. We were heading up the No Name Creek trailhead into Not Gonna Tell You Mountains, heading straight into Don't Even Ask Me Basin. We had 8 miles to pack in for our camp spot. Now 8 miles I can do. I can go much further than that and with a heavy load. 5 miles in, my body was starting to give out. It was like I had lead in my boots. I tried to hide it, but everyone saw right through it. Pretty soon Fred had talked me out of my pack and he was carrying it. Chris took Buttercup and led him up the trail, and I consistently had to drop to my knees just to get oxygen and get a good rest in. Arriving at our campsite was a relief. I felt a little better not hiking, but my hands felt weird. I took my gloves off, inspected my fingers, and they had all turned yellow. I was now guessing that what I was experiencing was altitude sickness. I knew I needed some rest. I knew I needed to get acclimated to the elevation. There was no way I was heading back down that mountain. Once camp was set up, I started feeling a little better, and I was dying to see some elk. So Jason suggested that we just go a mere 400 yards up the hill to the spotting rock. Heading up the hill now with a bow in hand and calls around my neck, the excitement of hunting had really hit. My body was actually physically feeling tingly, and I wondered, is it the anticipation or is it the altitude sickness? On every hunt that I'm on, I always expect that there is going to be something just over the next hill, just up the next ridge. I have an expectation that I'm going to see game. We heard a bugle, and we never even made it to the spotting rock. We kept climbing up another 1,000 feet in elevation, which makes a guy suffering from altitude sickness an idiot. But an idiot having fun. It was truly an epic evening. Bugling all around us, bears, the snow started pouring. The excitement and elevation was seriously taking a toll on me physically. Liquid, rest, and prayer, and not in that order, was my remedy for altitude sickness, and by the next morning, I was feeling great. It was like opening morning. The expectations were high, and I always expect. We'd seen the elk, and we had direction. You know, that's not unlike my relationship with God. When I expect to see Him at every turn, He is always there. When I anticipate that He is there, I see Him in so many ways. My hunting life is not unlike my life as a follower of Christ. I expect and anticipate. We started hearing bugles up at the top of the hogback. This time, we had all day to make our move.
There's one that screams really husky sounding over here. Yeah, I want to see.
At about 400 yards out from the big herd on the mountainside, we found ourselves a little pinned down by elk below us, and just above us, and just over to the left. So we set up and started calling to see what would happen. Very few times have I ever passed up a legal animal, and never have I passed up a 6-point bull. Patience. For DJ, this was his first time seeing a bull come in. His training had truly begun.
They're up on the hill. They're antler fighting.
What? Did he just say antler fighting? Guess we are early in the training process. We were seeing elk ridgeline to ridgeline. Just as we were setting up to call again, another sow grizzly with cubs came in just a little too close for comfort. It was the first time I drew my bear spray, but it would not be my last. We were working on a bull that was just uphill from us, but then we got surprised when DJ spotted some antlers right behind us. DJ's training is progressing. Did you see that limb? Well, I didn't. Suddenly, a bigger bull came into the exact same spot. It was dead, and by it, I mean the tree that we pulled the bloodless arrow out of. Evening was approaching, so we backed on out, confident that we'd get right back on them in the same place the next day.
Right, go for it.
Morning number 2. Nothing but anticipation. We chose to leave the big herd alone and explore another area for the morning hunt, straight up the valley. After only about a mile of hiking, we started seeing and hearing the bulls. When I first laid eyes on this muddy fellow, I actually thought he was a moose. Up ahead and to our left, we could hear some bulls sounding off, so we set up quickly and got one of them really excited. For near 30 minutes, this bull circled in front of us, looking for that lonely cow. I knew he was not the caliber of bull that I should hold out for, but look at those fronts and the little extra devil tines, and well, his proximity to me. The zoom on the camera was dialed back as far as DJ could get it. I decided if he turned to give me the shot, I was going to take it. Ah, straight over his back. As soon as I released the arrow, I knew I was holding on the wrong pin. Missed it 40 yards yesterday, 25 yards today. The solution is clear. Jason needs to call in a bull to no more than 10 yards. Typically, I'd be absolutely depressed about missing a bull. My shot opportunities just don't come up that often. But today, I was still feeling great. I knew I was on the best elk hunt of my life. It was only day 2 of a 14-day hunt. Continuing on up the valley, we kept hearing the bull's bugle. This hot dog bull came in for a good look-see. My 5-year-old Aurora, she calls spike bulls hot dog bulls because of their antlers. While watching the hot dog bull, we saw 3 separate bulls about 1,000 yards out. All of them were shooters. It was time to make another play. We closed the distance to 500 yards to one of the bulls. He was a good bull. But at 500 yards, it seems elk only come in from that far for Will Primos. The wind was in our favor, but howling. One immature bugle, and we had his full attention. When he got behind the trees, we changed up positions. I drew back my bow, and I held, and held, and held. And held. We thought for sure his legs were going to come right out from under him. He bedded on down. And that's okay. We're going to sit tight and just watch him expire. No tracking needed. Then his buddies showed up, pushing him up the hill and into the trees. At this point, we know it's time to just sit back, have a nice lunch, give him plenty of time to expire, and we'll track him later. While we're having lunch, we got treated to yet another fantastic elk show. No blood, tracks everywhere. So Jason went high and I went low.
Dad, here he is. Yeah. Done. Done, done. Thank you, Lord. Oh. You may have. Look at that, brother. Oh, I didn't want to celebrate before we found him. But now let's celebrate. Oh, look, he bedded right here. This is one of the most special things first human to touch. This is...
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
The crazy thing was that he'd run a little half moon, and where he fell down was exactly 51 yards from where we spent our hour waiting. After a couple quick pictures, we jumped right on quartering the elk out.
I break it into two sections in my mind. One is get the meat out into bags, and number two is get the meat out of the bags and clean it up beautifully. No hair, no big bloody splotches, all of that. Then when you're dealing with clean meat to process and all that, you got good tasting meat.
When do you normally clean your meat?
What's that?
When do you normally clean the meat?
As quick as I can.
It was several miles back to camp, not enough time to go get the horses and get her done in the daylight. And we knew we didn't want to be in grizzly country, covered in elk blood at night. So the game plan, get them quartered quickly, string them up in a tree, put a little meat in our day packs, and make our way back to camp.
So Jason, of course, being the wise man he is, says, okay, you can't do it at 40, you can't do it at 25. I know what we're going to do for Mark. And I swear, that bull was so close to me. Yeah, what, the tent? Me to the tent?
When they get on a trail, they get a rhythm.
Getting to ride a horse to pick up the meat was like a victory lap for me. But that's where things got ugly. More grizzlies. That makes 8 grizzlies in 3 days. They were right on the meat as we rode the horses up, and they boogered off into the trees there. As we got closer, we could see that they had just whacked the bottom of those bags and dropped the meat clean out of it. It was a mess. Our hearts were absolutely sunk down in our stomachs. This is a first time for us. I mean, not first time hunting. We've been hunting for decades. We've never lost meat. It's been a few months since the hunt ended now, and there's 3 things that I want to share with anyone heading into grizzly country. 1, when you're hanging your meat, go way higher than you would ever expect to go. 2, carry your meat pack with you at all times. That way you can get a full load out on that first trip. And number 3, hey, you're in grizzly country. Prepare for it and think that it's going to happen to you so you are ready. The couple mile ride back to camp and then sitting in camp was really kind of depressing. You get a lot of time to ponder your mistakes and your shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And there we sat. And suddenly, there were some encouraging voices coming down the trail towards our tent. And it was Fred, Chris, and Derek. And Fred had taken a nice bull that morning. So it was good to celebrate Fred's success. It was also good to get the saddles on the horses immediately and head straight back up to where his bull was quartered out, because that meat was not going to spend the night in the woods alone. The pack out was bittersweet, success and failure. I will be back. I will hunt this drainage in grizzly country again. The lessons learned are burned in deeply, but you know, the good times are there too. The joy of getting to pack into the wilderness, being with friends, and chasing bull elk. And there was that sense of anticipation and expectation of our next adventure.